My name is Mike Guggenheimer. I am the president and CEO of RSC Biosolutions. I'm really happy to be here, grateful for these formats to engage with the industry in a time where we can't be together in person. RSC Biosolutions is a global industrial biotechnology company. We typically work with large fleets and equipment owners and operators to help them deal with either environmental risk or risk to human health and safety, using technology that allows them to address these risks without trading off performance or other kind of economic factors. Bud talked earlier about the ability to have these things coexist, and we feel very strongly about kind of making the business case for safer technology throughout our portfolio. We're really best known in the marine space. We have, for our lubricant technology, we've been working in the marine industry for many decades, almost 30 years at this point. And we're best known in this industry for lubricant technology that's biodegradable and in many cases renewable, using a technology that is a bit unique in the industry in that it is in a category called PAO and hydrocarbon related, meaning it has the tendency to be very compatible and very stable, which is extremely unusual when you're moving into alternative technologies to have something that drops into your existing systems. Today, I'm excited to talk about something that is new and different and addresses the trends that we're facing right now. Obviously, there's a lot of trends and issues and risks that the industry is facing. We've heard about several of them today. We are heavily involved in the decarbonization work that a number of these presentations have addressed. But today, there is a new challenge. We are in an industry and in a time where we haven't seen the kinds of challenges we're facing right now before. And I think it's important to recognize that the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenge that we're dealing with related to this particular pandemic is the latest, but it's not the last. If you study this chart closely, you'll see that pandemics initially were coming every few hundred years, and then you would see one every 100 years. Then there was one every 50 years. In the last 20 years, there have been 5 pandemics. So in the marine timeline, a vessel in a 5-year dry docking cycle should expect to deal with a pandemic within that cycle, which is really hard to imagine when you consider the issues that we're all facing trying to deal with the current crisis. And like many of these threats, whether it be the environmental risk that we talked about earlier or the face of this pandemic threat, it's our responsibility as leaders in the industry to address the concerns about health and safety. And true to our strategy, we want to do that in a way that doesn't compromise the business. It doesn't compromise the economic goals of the company and the challenges the industry is facing to create value. We want to balance both, and that's why we are excited to be talking about some new solutions today that we think will do that. We have been, as I said, in this space for a long time, really built around this initial lubricant technology. And we saw the opportunity to take our experience in both cleaners and lubricants and essentially create a platform. We had been hearing and seeing a lot of questions and challenges about how do they do this? How do they make the environment, whether it be the office environment or the vessel environment, safe? And so we feel like this is an opportunity for us to create some value. And it's not just a reaction to the current times. We believe this is going to be a significant and important platform for us in years to come. And a lot of it is based on this same thing that we have been doing with customers for many years, which is helping deal with the confusion, helping deal with the uncertainty around how do I keep my business running, address this risk, but do it safely, do it efficiently. That is really the hallmark of our business, to provide these solutions that in this case address cleaning and disinfecting that do not compromise the other challenges that they're addressing, our clients are addressing. So for us and for this particular platform, first and foremost, sustainability is critical for us. The ingredients we use, the certifications they have, but also how the applications are delivered. Can they be delivered without PPE, without mixing, in a way that's non-toxic? But again, they have to be high performing. Just like our lubricant technology, the industry will not accept a technology that solves one problem but creates a whole host of additional problems. So they need to perform well, and they need to be versatile. Just like a lubricant dropping into a stern tube without changing systems, it needs to be easy to operate, easy to use, easy to deliver. And so what we have done in this case is pull together a complete set of solutions that do all of these things. So people need to be able to come to a partner and remove the noise, remove the options that are not safe, that are not effective. And so we've done that across a range of technologies, cleaners, disinfectants, even creating overall protocols that make it simple to address the challenges. And beyond that, especially in this industry, a lot of times it's one thing to have a product, but it's even more important to have a holistic solution that could include service. It could also include communication. In many cases, our customers are dealing with a need to not only solve the problem, but help the stakeholders understand what they're doing. Just talking, Ginger talking about some of the financial stakeholders, but there are many stakeholders that need to understand what have you done to make the environment safer. And so that's part of what we do, is try to help communicate, whether that be PR or signage. But today, the thing that I really want to talk the most about is this 90-day continuous disinfectant coating. Among all the things that we're doing right now, I feel like, and we feel like, that it has particular relevance to the marine industry, an environment where people are often in close quarters. It could be a traditional shipping vessel, but especially the cruise industry as well, where you have not the same kind of opportunity to keep an environment safe, and it can be very costly to do so with traditional solutions. So I will take a second just to introduce this technology. I know we don't have a ton of time, but I'm happy to answer questions afterwards, and I would look forward to the opportunity to talk more about it down the road. But what's significant about it is it really is a simple solution to deliver, and then it continues to protect for 90 days at a minimum across a whole host of surfaces. The technology is particularly unique. There are a number of antimicrobial coatings that are out there and have been out there. We feel like this is the first ever technology that provides that durable protection, but also includes viruses and has the data to support the durability. Obviously, the durability is critically important on a wide range of surfaces, and this technology is the first to have evidence of effectiveness on viruses, including the virus that causes the COVID-19 disease. And repeating a little bit what I said earlier, obviously the continuous coverage is very important, but for us, it's also important to be able to deliver this in a way that's safe. It's non-toxic, it's odorless, it does not contain VOCs, it can be delivered very efficiently. Our crews can get in and out of an environment, and within 10 minutes or so, the environment is ready to re-enter. And so that is very important in an operation that has to be running 24/7 in some cases. The other thing that's significant is it will not wear off even under repeated cleaning. So in a lot of cases, our customers desire to have this protection, but they have a standard cleaning crew, some sort of janitorial service or crew that is providing regular maintenance. That regular maintenance, that regular cleaning protocol is not going to affect the durability of this technology. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the comprehensiveness, the ability to use our technical expertise in biotechnology to support our customers, to help verify that the coating has been put on in the proper thickness, that it's doing what it's supposed to do, and helping our clients communicate the work they've done to provide an environment that thinks about either the customers or the employees' wellness and safety. We have a significant amount of research behind this on 2 generations of this technology. The initial technology that has a long track record has a lot of data in hospitals, in transit authorities, in a variety of applications that show durability. And what's important is the evolution of the technology has improved the binder so that it is not only more durable, but now the effectiveness against the coronavirus is now evident. So if you look at this chart, the chart on the right that talks about the coronavirus 229E, in a lot of cases, that is the first step in understanding the effectiveness on this novel coronavirus. But what you'll see is that on the surface, once it's been applied, that within 2 hours, it has a 99.99% kill, and within 10 minutes, it's over 90%. And then what happens is you have a technology that's continuing to provide protection over the next 90 days. And there is a number of research studies, again, to support this, including research behind the coronavirus itself. And I think what is really important to understand when you think about a technology that can deliver essentially an always-on protection is it does 2 very significant things for the vessel owner or operator. The first is it can dramatically change what the practices around daily disinfecting could look like. So in many cases, our customers are doing nightly disinfecting, daily disinfecting, which provides a point-in-time solution, but then as soon as contaminants enter the environment, there is no solution until the next daily disinfecting. Our view is some of that disinfecting is going to continue to happen with this technology, but the amount needed to maintain a healthy environment is dramatically different. The second thing is the overall bioburden, that the amount of biofilm that accumulates on surfaces is dramatically reduced. And this is what most of the studies that have been conducted are designed to do, is to look at the accumulation of the bioburden and the level of reduction that takes place with this type of coating. So imagine in an environment like a cruise ship, if you're able to reduce surface contaminants by more than 75%, and the potential for infections and cross-contamination significantly, what that does for a vessel owner operator, a cruise ship, could be really significant in terms of risk reduction, regardless of the savings on the daily disinfectant side. And we feel like whether it is at the home office, the retail store, or the vessel itself, that having a clean and an environment that is designed around mitigating this particular risk and more that will come in the future is a competitive advantage. Employees, customers, passengers are going to want to understand what has been done to address this. It reduces the risk of exposure. It creates some satisfaction that the leadership, the company, the business is doing what they can to mitigate the risk. And we feel like in a lot of situations, it will lower operating costs and minimize business disruption. So with that, I'll just pause and see what questions there might be. Again, excited to be talking about something very different in this market. We have spent many years in presentations like this talking about biodegradable stern tube oil, and it's fun for me to be talking about a technology that we feel like is really in a significant need. There's nothing about this crisis that is fun, but solving problems and helping create solutions is something that creates energy for us. And hopefully this has been interesting. Thank you.
Yes, it was, Mike. Thank you very much for your presentation. We have one question from Ginger Garta. Are there any materials that your disinfectant cannot adhere to? Are there any byproducts?
Yeah, so there are none that it won't adhere to. I think what you'll find is that there are certain surfaces that might be more subject to abrasion. Abrasion is the thing that would provide, that tends to be what wears the surface off. And most of the testing that has been done is on the high traffic area. So a doorknob, something that's going to see the most abrasion is where they base the 90 on. There are some surfaces that we actually would recommend don't get coated. A glass, for example, it could create potentially a slight bit of a fog, depending on what type of, if it's a window that people are just looking out of, versus if it's a door, we would recommend treating it. It does not. It has an impact that's negative on copper and brass, but unless you're in an art museum, most likely the brass is already coated, so it would work fine on that. The other issue is on a hard floor. What could potentially happen is if you have a buffer, that will remove the coating. So what we would recommend is a 90-day treatment, and you tie a floor buffing to the coating. But on a carpet, it will be highly durable.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions from myself as well. I would like to ask you, would this 90-day surface treatment eliminate the need for other disinfection?
Yeah, so we think it will significantly reduce the need. A lot of it depends on the environment that you're operating in. We actually have some customers that want to provide additional disinfecting as a way in high traffic areas, as a way to show the maximum protection to and stakeholders, customers, passengers, that type of thing. But to a large extent, we think that will be reduced dramatically. And in some areas, it won't be necessary at all. If there is an exposure or some sort of large event where there's a significant amount of pathogens introduced in the system, say somebody was sick or got sick in an area, then we might suggest disinfecting that space, but the need is dramatically reduced.
Okay. And how have the claims against coronaviruses for this extended surface treatment been verified?
Yeah, so there's been some research conducted out of the University of Arizona by one of the leading antimicrobial scientists, Dr. Gerba. And so there's some independent studies that have been done specifically testing the durability and the effectiveness on the coronavirus itself. And then there's some other tests in, say, hospitals and transit authorities that look at the durability of the overall system. So the primary answer to your question is the antimicrobial specialist, Dr. Gerba, and his independent research.
Okay. And I have one last question. How is the 90-day surface treatment different from the others on offer in the market?
Well, I mentioned one of them earlier, and that is the durability, and kind of related to that, the effectiveness on the coronavirus. We're not aware, or coronaviruses in general, and specifically the SARS-CoV-2 virus. We're not aware of others that have research to support that. And the second thing that kind of supports that particular differentiation is the US EPA is putting this technology through its emergency Section 18 waiver process. So what we would do with an account in the US is work directly with the US EPA to gain an approval, a waiver specifically for that customer. And when the EPA does that, that means they haven't identified any other technologies that exist today that address the problem. So that's another sign that this technology is unique.
Great, and we have one last message from Ginger. She says, "Thank you, great presentation and news that scientifically tested solutions can safely allow us to return to operation."
That I appreciate that comment, Ginger. I think for us, the basis of science and research is really significant for us. I talked about our lubricant business, and being able to provide data in a stern tube or a thruster is critically important, and the same is true in this area. We're fortunate to have several PhDs on our team with antimicrobial and coating experience. So we really look forward to having a dialogue with customers in applications to even learn more, because this is a new world we're entering. So thank you for the comment about the science basis of these things.
And thank you for this amazing presentation, Mike.
All right. Thanks again for having me.